If I could describe the Get My Life tour in one word, it would be vulnerability. Showing up for yourself is so important. Welcome to the Get My Life tour. I'm your host, Lydia T. Blanco. Hey y'all, I'm Lydia Blanco and thanks for joining us on the Get My Life tour. Today's episode is all about taking that deep breath you've been too busy to take. I always say that there is no healing in holding it in, but those were manifested for me when I took so many appointments. I had a chiropractic appointment, an appointment with a physician, and an appointment with a physical therapist, and they all told me one thing. And that was to breathe. That was in 2017. And today, I am sitting across from the incomparable Jasmine Marie, who is the founder of Black Girls Breathing.
Yay! Hi!
Yes. She is taking the stage today. Jasmine Marie is an intuitive breathwork healer and mindfulness practitioner who has had a past life as a brand marketer, company dancer, yes, and two-time entrepreneur. It excites her to bring all of these experiences together with Black Girls Breathing as they navigate, or I say as we navigate, the ebbs and flows of our unique journey. She is also the founder of Adulting with Ease, and we all know that the Get My Life tour is a part about adulting as well. So let me tell you more about Black Girls Breathing. It was created with the intention to provide a safe space for Black women to unfold and pour into themselves, as one cannot heal where they are not seen. I love that. Fostering a community of like-minded and like-spirited Black sisterhood committed to their healing and an expansion as a necessary act of resistance in today's world through meditational breathwork. She's sitting right here across from me. We just breathed. Oh my goodness, we had a heavy conversation.
Yes, we did.
Jasmine, take the stage.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm as well as can be. And sometimes we take up space in the present moment, and I'm as well as can be right now.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited to finally be sitting across from her. Let me tell you, I met Jasmine Marie, and I have to say her full name, Jasmine Marie, 3 years ago while I was attending Columbia. Shout out to the J School and all the money they took from me. But I'm using it. We're clearly having this conversation as a result of it. But I met this woman because we decided to bring her in through the NABJ chapter. And you spoke about Adulting with Ease. We were all anxious about finishing our master's projects and every other class we had to, get through. But you were there and you were so present.
Yeah.
What was it like just having all these Black kids reach out to you?
Yeah. That was a beautiful experience. So at the time, I had the intention of doing a university tour. I had done the corporate job in New York. I felt like, in a sense, it could be seen as success and that I could afford to live on my own. I, was 22 and able to have certain projects and work at a global CPG company doing digital marketing and managing a brand for a hair care product. And, the money was good coming out of school. And I knew, though, just being present and just observing, we actually got a new director, and it was a Black woman. And I asked myself, is this where you want to be? I had always said I wanted to be a director in 5 years. Like, that was my plan. Very ambitious. And I looked at her life and I said, that's not what I want to do or be. And so it was like, if I don't leave now, then the money's going to be too good and I won't want to leave. So I left. And then I went on this journey. I came back home to Atlanta. That's where I'm from.
That's where we are.
That's where we are right now. And I thought I was interviewing at Coke and other companies, thinking I would do the same kind of work and in that kind of unknown phase, because we talk a lot about making the leap and doing things that we love, but there's this in-between space. I feel like a lot of people can, testify to, in how you make that jump and then there's this uncertainty you need to walk. And before there's the clarity that shows up again, right? So I thought it was going to work again. Like there was that fear. So I was like, okay, let me just do what I know. And I had a really great friend who asked me, you don't want to do this, right? And I said, you're right. I don't. So I ended up getting a 30-day freelance contract back in New York to work with this nonprofit. It's a well-known nonprofit. And they had, a couple of viral campaigns and they were going on tour. And so I helped them with the marketing and planning of that, came back to Atlanta for a month, and then for a personal situation, ended up moving to Tennessee. And that's why I started my marketing firm.
Wow.
And that was through that journey, I just remember thinking there's so many people like me, recent grads who were taught that success looked a certain way. So I created From Passion to Paycheck, which was a curriculum, mostly like design thinking activities to get students to tap into what are they passionate about and how can they turn that into something that they love and get paid from after school. And I could attest to that after I launched my marketing firm and had seen great success within the first year. I was on the 20 under 40 list in the town. And then, again, that uncertainty, it was there for a month before I booked the biggest VC firm in the city, and my business grew from word of mouth since. And so with that, I was just like, how can I take what I've learned and my success and teach it back, some of the things that were more intuitive to me. And that's how I ended up at Columbia, amongst other schools. And looking back, I see a common thread, though. The schools I went to were high suicide rate schools.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Cornell, Columbia, UCLA, NYU. If you look at the stats, those schools have high rates of student suicide. And that has a lot to do with the external pressures of, especially if you're coming from a background where your parents may have not seen certain success and there's this pressure on you to perform. How is that impacting your mental health? Mm-hmm. So that's what brought me to Columbia, to answer your question.
Right. No, but what brought you to this work, this breath work?
Yeah.
Especially as it relates to Black women.
Yeah, I found breath work interestingly enough when I was still working at Unilever, and my church at the time, First Corinthian Baptist Church.
Shout out to Pastor Mike. I'm still a member.
They created the Dream Center, and they began offering free breathwork classes. And the teacher was Pastor Mike's personal breathworker. That's how I got introduced to breathwork. And I used to go and take it, and I leaned on it heavily during a very transitional and rough time in my life. And I had been practicing it for, it had been a tool that I'd reach back into my back pocket and use, and just was inspired. I mean, I literally woke up one day last year and it's just like, I need to get my certification with training. I need to teach this. I just felt it in my spirit.
What was that process like, getting your certification? And tell me more about that industry, because, we think of meditational practices like yoga, it's like infused with, fitness, but we also don't often see ourselves in those spaces.
Yeah. So that was a frictional point. I think I just made up a word.
I'm here for it.
A place of where there was a little bit of resistance on my end to that point, and the fact that I know my heritage and I'm an 8th Native, and this particular breathwork practice that I had, when I reached out to the community looking for training, the guy who teaches it and who ended up teaching one of my other teachers, who is a white woman, he got permission from a Native tribe. And so for me, I felt resistance, and it's like, why do I have to go and learn this from a Native person? I mean, from a white man who, got this information from my ancestry, but because the nature and, the violence in just looking at my ancestral roots, like there's so much disconnection. I wouldn't know where to go to know, where, like my great grandmother who was Native died when my grandmother was in the 5th grade. And so they were in Mississippi, they ended up moving to Michigan. And there's not a lot of knowledge about what they know. And so a lot of things weren't passed down to us. And I don't know the heritage of my great grandfather. I'm assuming he was a Black man, but we don't know. Yeah. So, that being said, I ended up going through with the certification anyways and taking the classes, and went in knowing that I would make this my own. And I had been, praying that I would receive guidance from my ancestors, that they would help me with this work and show up and show me things while I was getting certified. And that indeed happened. And just looking at how, this is, I would say in LA and New York, it's more well known, this practice of breath work, but it's not accessible in the sense of, how many people can afford $250 sessions, one-on-one sessions, so every week or every month. And so my inspiration to, one, bring this healing tool back to my Black women specifically, and how breath work, it's powerful. You're literally reframing your nervous system and its triggers. Because if you talk to any therapist, and we have therapists who join our groups, trauma lives in your body. So we can reflect and do mental, traditional talk therapy, but to really do that deep inner work, you have to get in your body. And if you think about a time, your memory can trigger that response in your body, something that happened to you, and you feel your stomach starts to get queasy or your hands are sweaty, and you thinking about that memory, those are the energetic memories of that being housed in your body.
It's so interesting that you say that. A big part of the Get My Life tour came out of me being in a work environment that was extremely toxic.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was microaggressions and nonverbal things that would happen. And it played a big role in me needing to go to the chiropractor, the physical therapist, and the therapist. And like I said, they all told me to breathe. But they all told me, okay, you have to leave that environment, because the way that stress is forming in your body, it is like eating you. And I was like, so when they said breathe, like sit up straight and do these things. And when I thought about my nervous system, all sorts of things, so many people aren't having those conversations, especially with Black women. No one tells a Black woman to breathe. It's so interesting. Like, you can think about going to any setting and seeing maybe a white mom with her child, breathe, breathe. But no one is telling Black girls, Black women, Black men, Black people to breathe. You heard Eric Garner say, I can't breathe. But no one is telling us to breathe. And it just makes me so excited about the work that you're doing. Tell me more about your sessions with women in the community that you built.
It literally feels like church. Like new redefining what community and sacred space to heal feels like. And the women we attract, it's just beautiful. No session is the same. And having done this work, for me, and I have shared this with some peers that I can trust, how heavy holding space for Black women is compared to when I do a session that's an all-white group, to be blatantly honest. We just hold so much in our bodies, and we haven't, like you said, to your point, given space to breathe or relax or not try to be everything to everyone and taking care of ourselves. We're just trooping through, and there's this myth that we don't have time. I don't have time to take a break. I have to do this. I have to do that. And so making space in this way, I couple it with I would say traditional mental reflection. And that is to elicit an understanding and a relationship with your body where you can feel like, where is that trauma in your body? And then we take those notes and then we breathe into that space. If anything, I want Black women to leave, after practicing and coming to our Black Girls Breathing sessions every month, I want them to leave having a better relationship with their body and being able to know when something's out. That will go so much farther than just, like this sequence of breath work, being able to know you in a great way and to have that knowledge as a tool. And no matter what situation you go into, professional, personal, does it feel right in your body? Okay, that's a telltale sign. I can trust myself in that.
That's a really good question. Does that feel good in my body? There's so many things that we put in our bodies and so much that we carry, but the act of breathing is so spiritual, so healing, it's so natural. It's something that we just forget to do.
Yeah.
Who are the women that come to your groups? Like, what are their profiles?
Oh my God. That's what I love about our space is I've been very intentional. And for me, there is a frustration in how I would see like wellness, but for Black elite, Black bougie, that kind of profile where it's like, why isn't, there's space being made for come as you are. I don't care if you know what pranayama is. I'm not even going to speak in that way because I don't care about that. Do you know an inhale and an exhale? All right, we'll work with that. I want you to feel comfortable. This is not a space to judge. So because I've made that intention, I've attracted women in their 60s, and women who are in their 20s and in college and figuring it out and, learning to have, and honestly, even the women in their 60s are learning to have a practice of taking care of themselves and pouring into themselves. And that's just something I feel like as Black women, we're working on no matter the generation, because we've never been taught. So professionals, entrepreneurs, creatives, it's so beautiful when I get to sit and see what a session has attracted and be like, wow, look at this group of Black women. We're all making space for each other to heal and feel comfortable sharing. And that means the world to me. So it's a mix and it turns out being like such a beautiful synergy, energy wise, whenever we breathe together.
Right. So I started this conversation in all the doctors' offices and it led, I went back to our time at Columbia, but where has this work taken you?
Well, I'm excited of where we're going.
Yeah. Let us know. Give us the tea. What's the next stop on the tour?
Okay. So right now, Black Girls Breathing has meetups in 9 different cities where Black women reside and live. And we have a virtual breathwork circle, which I'm so excited about scaling and expanding to Black women, no matter where you are. It's every 3rd Sunday. We're going to have a tour this spring and summer to our meetup cities. And we just got a grant for $10,000. I know.
I was waiting for you to say it.
We just got a grant. That's just the beginning, though, because everything has been, and that's what I love about the fact that seeing all of my background pieced together and into this venture. It's, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a businesswoman, and so being able to make the case about Black women's health and how it's important to our communities and the health of our communities in order to receive funding, to me is just like goal, because so often we don't see Black women getting the money that they need. And there may be that missing link as far as why should a non-Black person care? Yeah. And being able to make that case with this first seed of money is just like, it's only up for here. Like we're going to do it. We're going to scale it. We've got some exciting things and plans coming out this year. And, the goal is to be able to have monthly meetups in all of our cities every month and just be able to this is known, Black Girls Breathing.
Give us the cities.
Okay. LA, Dallas, Houston, New York, Chicago, DC, Detroit, Boston, and hometown of Atlanta. I think I named 9. I hope I didn't miss any.
So we got to get the 10th and the 11th. We need San Francisco and Oakland.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we need Oakland to show up. Okay. 3%. I created an Oakland meetup, but y'all was struggling. Okay. I was like, oh. Okay. So maybe the future. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Let's do it.
So I'm excited about your 10, your money because, not because I'm in your pocket. I'm not going to ask you for $1, don't worry. But I'm really excited because there's so much trauma that we experience as Black women. We are protectors, we are providers, we are gatekeepers and matriarchs and everything in between. And our trauma is often overlooked. We were having a conversation offline about this national moment of mourning that our community is experiencing. So for you to be able to do this work all over the country, for people to see your work as necessary, and for Black women to be able to experience the healing that comes with being alive. Like, I'm so excited that this is not a GoFundMe for someone whose life was stolen or who is in need and doesn't have the financial means to bail themselves out. You have the money right now to do the work. And that is so beautiful. It's such a blessing.
It is. And we will be seeking more. Because we need money to grow this company and hire. And receive funding. And, and not being, I feel like, there's resistance when I look at, and so not only is there innovation as far as the work we're doing to heal Black women, but I definitely want to be, and I feel like I am, making a path as far as Black women healers receiving work for their receiving money and resources for their emotional labor. There is such I would say, generational curse on thinking that Black women should be making space for others healing for free. And it's something, and that's, we don't live in just a spiritual world. We live in a physical world as well. So not being afraid to align yourself to the proper parties and the ones that have your best interest at heart. There is discernment in that way, but not being afraid to say, we need the resources to grow this.
Exactly.
We deserve this. Here's our case. And I want us to tap out of that. And March's Breathwork Circle was on healing our relationship with money. We talked a lot about that. And why I will never, do a Black girl's breathing session for free, in the sense that, and if it's heavily discounted, there's going to be so much education around why, hey, look, we were able to get a sponsor, because what I don't want to do in this work is to create a bunch of Black women practitioners who are competing against, a monolith or a big entity that I want Black Girls Breathing to grow to and plan to, and say, well, someone be like, well, they don't charge and you're charging. No, that's because there's structures in place for things to be of discount.
There's no such thing as
there's no such thing. And, and I've been, talking to different Black owned women businesses and encouraging them to stop doing free things, because free is a strategy. And if you look at who's...
Say that one more time.
Free is a strategy. Okay. And if you look at who's employing that strategy, and people are like, oh, this company's doing events. Let me tell you something. They're just not doing it just because. So they have a plan in place to make a return on that free investment that they can wait on. They can wait a couple years to do activations and free things for that person to then think of the brand and eventually buy. You as a small business cannot. You don't have that long lead time. It's okay to say, these are my prices, and to expect and know that your community can support you. I think this whole notion of like, I've got to do it free for my community. No, believe in your community.
You are dropping major gems. If you all could see my face right now, I'm trying not to lunge over the little space that we have in between us so that she can continue this conversation, because it's so important. You all are getting breathwork gems. You're also getting financial literacy gems.
Hey.
And I'm here for it because people don't know what breathwork is. Right? So we're going to be educating people on what that is. Also, people have this idea of healing being something that can't be monetized or shouldn't be monetized. But we pay for so
much.
We pay to be traumatized. And then we go out and we pay other people to help fix us. And then we have people like you who exist and are doing the work. And I think that it is so key that you say you are not going to do this for free. There are ways that we have to invest in ourselves. And that's something that I have really heeded to on my own Get My Life tour. There are ways that you have to invest in yourself that others will never put a dollar up. You can't fundraise for someone to invest in yourself. You got to fundraise for yourself.
Yeah. And what it took to get that money, I mean, I'm showing proof of, I've went to after my second company, and that's a lesson in and of itself, having had a very successful marketing firm and then launching a second company that was geared towards Fortune 5s and not understanding the long sales lead time. So it can take 2 to 3 years before a company signs off and you get a check. Right? Do you have the capital to sustain yourself? I did not. So I ended up having debt from that second business and taking the leap of faith to say, okay, I'm going to do it, start again. And, I worked at a startup company here in Atlanta for around 5 months. And that was a lesson in and of itself about being promised a salary and getting paid half. Hello. If you're not at these big tech companies, a lot of them treating Black women and minorities not fair. And there's no HR to go to, when you get into these smaller tech companies. And I was saving aggressively to pay off the debt from my second business. I ended up using that money to launch Black Girls Breathing, but showing how that I invested in this venture myself with the limited resources and what I've been able to do thus far is testament to someone else saying, okay, I believe in you. Let me give you this money. So, there's always going to be that risk and leap of faith required that we can't be afraid to take at those pivotal moments, right? I was turning down marketing contracts when I didn't have any, money, barely any money coming in, our virtual sessions, I mean, it's $20 to attend per person, but we were at like 20 people, I have bills. Yeah. So I'm dipping into that fund and then pouring the money I'm getting back from Black Girls Breathing right back into Black Girls Breathing. And, making those decisions like, all right, I'm going to bet on myself when it's not easy and saying, okay, instead of taking a client and doing for them what I could do for myself, I'm going to bet on myself.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. I was speaking with someone for an interview and she spoke about currencies, and Carla Harris speaks about currencies as well. She's an extraordinary business mind and leader and Black woman who is at the top and bringing women with her. And she often writes about currencies. And when I'm listening to you and I was saying, fundraising for yourself, I was, speaking about those currencies. Like faith is one of those, which sounds like something that you are heavily invested in, believing in yourself as a daughter of the Most High, and being so deeply rooted in your community is a currency. What other things can you think of that hold a lot of value in your life that you would say are currencies for you?
Ooh, wow. That's a beautiful question. I would say, wow. What are my currencies? Yeah, faith. So faith, trusting in myself. Ooh, doing things while I'm scared. I mean, now that we've got this money and making plans, I had a couple of meetings yesterday as far as investing in someone within my community to help scale this and not being afraid to say, I know that you know your stuff. You can help us get to that level. Let me put a monetary amount to that and not leech from you and one ask for services for free and being like, this has never been done. We're doing a couple of things that's never been done. And that's scary in the sense that, okay, like there are proven, funnel ads and marketing techniques. And I'm saying, no, we're going to do it this way. No, we're not going to do anything for free. I really believe in the value for this. And I want my community to rise to the occasion. So how do we build a marketing plan and strategy behind that? And saying, all right, we're going to do it. Like, we're doing something that I haven't seen done, but we're going to do it. And I'm going to do it even though I'm like, what in the world am I doing? But walking while I'm afraid. And then I would say just vulnerability and complete transparency. I always tell people, like, do not fake it till you make it. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, because while you're faking it, you're missing out on people who genuinely want to help you. How many times I've been like, I don't know how to do this. Just we're sitting in a Black women's co-working space.
Shout out to
Monday & Co. and Candace Van Way. And how many times have I sat across from her and said, like, here's what I'm struggling with. And being able to receive her knowledge and wisdom and feedback in that honesty. But if you're acting like your business is booming and this and that, when opportunities come, people might be like, "Oh, she's fine. She's probably busy. She didn't." No, don't. There's no need. We're all starting from somewhere and not being afraid. Ooh, another currency. Not being afraid to start over after failure. Yeah, after quotation marks around failure, it's all lessons, right? But after that, not being afraid being afraid and still moving forward with starting anew.
I just have to take a deep breath because that is all such rich information. It really is. And it's not to be taken lightly. We think that we have to arrive, and that we have to, make things look a certain way, or, as in my mentor always tells me, perfection is the enemy of greatness. Be perfect. And that's the complete opposite of what you're saying. And I think what you just shared is information that helps us sit up straight, check our posture. And to take a deep breath, like, you make me want to take a deep breath because you remind everything inside of me that I'm alive. And as long as I'm alive, like, there's more time to breathe and get things done. You're incredibly dope.
Thank you, Lydia.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh. So I have to ask, I have this, this mic drop segment. So given who you are and, the work that you're doing, and you've already shared the next stop on your tour with this seed money and the investment that you're going to be making, what has been a mic drop moment for you?
Ooh, a mic drop moment.
Yeah, mic drop.
Ooh. I'm like, who's going to be listening to this?
Everybody.
Ooh, a mic drop moment. My mic drop moment is the fact that I've been very unapologetic about saying this is for Black women. I'm not saying women of color. This is for Black women. And being clear on that. And if you look in wellness, and I think it's in order to make their community seem more palpable to get, corporate sponsorships. People say women of color, but it's Black women who are attending.
Yeah.
And in the nature of creating a space for Black women to be seen, I don't feel like I see you if I'm saying women of color, but it's Black women who are the ones attending. And so being bold enough to say, this is Black Girls Breathing is for Black women. And I'm sticking to that and standing true to that, and being able to get that money, and hearing people being like, oh, I don't know, you're not gonna be able to, get in corporate sponsorships or this and that, because, what about everybody? And I'm saying, no, Black women. I'm not doing the women of color thing. We have a very specific experience as Black women that doesn't, it's not like Latinas or, Asian women and other women of color. We have a unique experience, and I'm speaking to that and making space for that. And I'm unapologetic in it, and always will be. And so don't come around here thinking women of color over here, Black Girls Breathing will always be for Black women. And that's going to be my mic drop for today.
Heard you. So I have to be transparent because, yes, I'm a media professional. Yes, I'm a journalist. Yes, this is my podcast. Shout out to Get My Life Tour. But I took your workshop.
Yes.
I participated in the workshop and it was incredible. I felt very present. I felt very secure. I felt received.
That feels good.
I felt intentional about the time that I was spending, and it felt good. It felt right. It was a great investment of time, right? And you challenged me with writing a testimonial, and I want to share it.
Yeah.
And I want to leave women with this as they, decide whether or not they're going to tune in, which you all are, which, I'm excited about. So I'll just share my experience. And here it is. Breathing is one of the most natural things that we forget to do on a daily basis. So much so that I decided to schedule in breathing into my daily life. Sounds strange, right? But I'm serious. One of the ways that I did so was by being intentional about signing up for Black Girls Breathing. For an hour, I got to exist in a calm and relaxing space with Black women who needed to breathe through some of the things together. We breathed, we shared, we laughed, I cried, and we experienced our emotions. But most importantly, we did it together. That is what Black Girls Breathing is. It's community. And if you are looking for a safe space to commune with women on a path to healing, one breath at a time, you are looking for BGB.
Yay.
Thank you so
How
much.
beautiful. Yes. That is so beautiful. It makes me feel so warm and full. Thank you. Thank you for showing up.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I really hope that this stop on the tour slows people down as they're listening. We listen to podcasts and we may be, job searching or we may be working on an assignment or on go and have a spotty connection. So we're like, dang, next time, let me download this and then listen to it. But I really hope that women hearing from you checks something inside of themselves to be like, you know what? Let me take a deep breath. Yeah. So, in honor of the space that we're occupying right now, can you lead us?
Yeah, okay.
In the only free breathing exercise.
Yes. Oh, how beautiful.
Can we outro that way?
Let's outro that way.
Look, I'm trying to take care of y'all.
Okay, let's outro that way. All right. Please don't be driving while you do this. Okay.
Do not drive.
Yes. Okay. So whether you're sitting down or you found a soft space to land and stretch out, whether that's your bed, you're going to draw attention to the bottom of your seat, your tailbone, your root, knowing that you are grounded, you are needed, you're perfectly fine right where you are. We're going to inhale through our nose and make our exhale out of our mouths, making a sound. So I want you to think about whatever may be lurking in the pit of that area, in your seat, in your stomach, whatever anxious thoughts that have been on your mind, give it a motion. Let's move some of that energy out of our bodies. So go ahead and inhale through our nose. Exhale out of our mouths. Let's do that again. Inhale through our nose. Exhale out of our mouths. And as you notice this free tool that is available to you at any moment in time that you need it to tap into, recall what you can do with the expansiveness of your breath. And I leave you with that. And if you want more, you can always join us. Black Girls Breathing. Thank you, Lydia, for having us. Having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am so relaxed. Now, just tell us one more time how we can get connected.
Yes.
So
on Instagram, we are Black Girls Breathing, Black spelled all the way, BLACK, GIRLS, Breathing, BREATHING. We're there on Instagram, also the same on Facebook. We've got a new website launching soon, but all of the links to our virtual circles are there. If you're in any one of our meetup cities, you can search on Meetup Black Girls Breathing and we'll pop up and join. So LA, New York, Chicago, DC, Boston, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta. You can search us and meet up and join us. And I look forward to breathing with you soon, sis.
This has been an incredible stop on the Get My Life tour. Jasmine Marie is doing great things great work for Black women all over the world.
Let's world. Oh my gosh, yes. London, Toronto. I'm putting that in my ding. That's where I want to be. So all over the world.
All over the world.
Over the world.
The entire point of the Get My Life tour. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lydia, for having me.
Thank you for taking the time.